Curtis and Son Funeral Home for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. The renovation, the remodeling continues at Curtis and Son Funeral Home. New furniture arriving today, and you will not recognize the funeral home after the renovations are complete. It is state of the art for sure, and that's all at Curtis and Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. For more information on pre-need, contact Doris Thrash at 256-245-5361. That's 256-245-5361. Memorial service for Mr. Billy Dean Brooks, age 71, of Childersburg, will be Saturday morning at 11 a.m. from Curtis and Son North. Visitation 1 hour prior to the service. Mr. Brooks died on March the 11th at Russell Medical Center in Alexander City. In lieu of flowers, the family requests you make donations to Alabama Food Solutions in Mr. Brooks' memory. Online condolences at curtisondsonfh.com. Curtis and Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Jacqueline Fair Abrams will be today at Mount Olive Baptist Church in Harpersville at noon. The Reverend Clarence Carter officiating. Burial in the Harpersville Memorial Cemetery. Poole Funeral Home Chapel will direct that service. Esther Irwin Caldwell, age 90, died March 13th. Visitation at Talladega Funeral Home this evening from 6 until 8 p.m. Funeral service at Limbaugh Chapel on Friday at 1 o'clock. Pastor Billy Epperson will officiate. Burial in the Limbaugh Chapel Cemetery. Mrs. Caldwell was a member of the Limbaugh Chapel Church and Talladega Funeral Home in charge of the arrangements. Memorial service for Brenda Gail Chapman, age 72, is Friday at 2 o'clock from Midway Memory Garden Cemetery with the Reverend Ivan Fuller officiating. Ms. Chapman died March the 11th at her residence, Midway Memory Gardens Funeral Home in Talladega, directing that service. Other obituary news this morning: Charles Lee Hunter, age 84, died March 12th in Winterboro. Visitation for Mr. Hunter will be on Friday from 6 till 8 at Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega. Funeral service on Saturday at 11, also at Ursery, with Pastor Brian Blakely of Plainview Baptist Church officiating. Interment in the Pine Hill Cemetery. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Mr. Hunter was a veteran of the U.S. Army. Ursery Funeral Home in Talladega in charge of the final arrangements. Funeral service for Mr. Barry Gene Duck Jr., age 36, is Saturday at 3:30 from the Chapel of Raddy Funeral Home in Alexander City. Minister Chris Tidwell officiating. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family receiving friends on Saturday from 1 until 3 at the funeral home. Mr. Duck Jr. died March 13th at his residence. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at raddyfuneralhome.com. Raddy Funeral Home, Alexander City, directing. Funeral service for Miss Emily Lucille Shuram, age 74, of Kellyton, is Friday at 10 a.m. from the Chapel of Raddy Funeral Home. Reverend Kenneth Neely officiating. Burial in the Alexander City Cemetery. The family receiving friends tonight at the funeral home from 5 till 7. Miss Shuram died Tuesday, March 13th at her residence. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at raddyfuneralhome.com. Raddy Funeral Home, Alexander City, directing. Beatrice Morris, age 94, died March 13th. Funeral service today at 2 o'clock from Ursery Funeral Home Chapel in Talladega. Burial in the Pine Hill Memorial Park. The family will receive friends today 1 until service time at the funeral home. Online condolences at urseryfuneralhome.com. Ms. Morris was church secretary of Southside Baptist Church, also served as Sunday school teacher and vacation Bible school teacher. Ursery Funeral Home, Talladega, directing. Funeral service for Melba Whitehead Salter, age 75, of Alexander City, is this morning at 11 o'clock from the Chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Reverend Ed Brown officiating. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family received friends last night. Mrs. Salter died Sunday, March 11th in Opelika. She was a member of the Ray Baptist Church. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Sister Roselle Truss, age 91, is Friday at noon from Sims Funeral Home Chapel. Interment in the Talladega Memorial Gardens. Sims Funeral Service directing. Funeral service for Mr. Jerry Wayne Alexander, age 78, is Saturday at noon from the Chapel of Radley Funeral Home. Minister David Roselle officiating. Burial in the Alexander City Cemetery. The family receiving friends Friday, 5 till 7 at the funeral home. Radley Funeral Home directing. Funeral service for Mr. Charlie Ray Johnson will be 1 o'clock today at First Baptist Church in Rockford, with interment in the church cemetery. The body will lie in state at the church 1 hour prior to the service. Wright's Funeral Home, Alexander City directing. And funeral service for Mrs. Adeline Knight, age 92, will be Friday at 1 p.m. from the Chapel of Radley Funeral Home in Alexander City. The Reverend Freddie Sin officiating. Burial in the Hillview Memorial Park. The family receiving friends tonight, 5 until 7 at the funeral home. Memorial messages may be sent to the family at radleyfuneralhome.com. Radley Funeral Home in Alexander City in charge of the arrangements. These obituaries are a presentation of Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg. 256-245-4361. For pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.